Welcome to Tech Talks, Evolving Distribution. I'm Corey Hayes, and with me is Bill Rosado. Today, we're exploring how digital transformation is reshaping the distribution industry.
That's right. From e-commerce platforms to CRM tools, we talk with industry experts about how distribution can embrace these changes and thrive in the ever-changing space.
Whether you're just getting started or looking for new insights, we've got you covered. Today's episode is packed with information to help you navigate the digital shift.
So let the tech talk begin.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Another episode of Tech Talks Evolving Distribution. I'm your host, Corey Hayes. With me, as always, Bill Rosado. And we're very excited to have a special guest on today's show, Madison Armstrong from Genie Group. Madison, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. It's a little cold outside, but can't complain too much. I'm in here where it's nice and warm. So we're excited to have you on today, and really just want to get this conversation going. And from the top, we'll just ask you a little bit just about what your role is. We know you're at Genie Group there in Nashville, correct?
Yeah, technically
Okay.
Brentwood, and then we have our warehouse in Murfreesboro, so
Perfect.
Middle Tennessee.
Okay, cool. So just start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about Genie Group and then the journey that's got you to where you are.
Yeah, so I'm Madison Armstrong. I'm the marketing manager here at Genie Group. I help with our digital strategy, and my biggest project that I've worked on here for the past 2 years has been our website transformation. So we're a buying group and a fulfillment center. We have our membership base, and then we also have like our network distributors that come as like referrals from a manufacturer. We service across the country, a little bit into Canada and Mexico, and we only sell to other distributors. We do not do any end user sales. So we're not mining any customer data, and we've really found that that's a good niche for us. So kind of in a little bit of a nutshell, that's Genie Group.
Okay, perfect. And how long have you been there?
2 years.
2
Yeah,
years.
literally 2 years. This has been this is like my anniversary time.
Cool.
Early March, late February.
Wow. Well, happy anniversary.
anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, like I said, we're excited to have you on today. We've got some questions just to build into this conversation, specifically about e-commerce, digital transformation, and just really looking forward to getting into this. So, Bill, if you want to go ahead and dive into the conversation, let's get it going.
Well, yeah, I just want to really thank you, Madison, for being a part, right? The idea behind this is really to be able to share with our community struggles that you've gone through, right? And then successes and kind of how you got there. And I know when we first met, you guys had kind of done some transformation too, right? Before e-commerce, going from an ERP to a different ERP and then coming back to your current ERP. And then how that all,
A lot of change.
yeah, a lot of change. So
Yeah.
can you kind of tell me how that transformation went, the challenges that you guys had from making those switches and what it did to your e-commerce?
Yeah. So, going through an ERP system change is a really big change for any business. And so whenever I started at Genie, that was kind of what I got thrown into. And so I kind of got like thrown into the wolves, but I think that's kind of like the best way to learn, right? And so with the website, we had a website that was going to fully integrate with our old ERP system that we weren't going to be using anymore. We thought we were going to use it and it was going to work, but then we realized that we needed to switch back to Profit 21 because it was just more robust. And we needed something that was a bit more dynamic just for our business model. So with that being said, whenever we switched back to Profit 21, there was a lot of problems just getting that streamlined integration. So the web providers that we had when I first started were not a P21 solution, and we were actually their only P21 customer. And so we were just kind of like in this guinea pig phase of like, does this work? Does this not? Or it works today and then it doesn't work tomorrow. And so whenever you're displaying pricing on a website, or really anything on a website, you need to make sure that, it's valid and everything, because you have to honor that. And so with all of the technical challenges that we had just with not being able to have that proper integration. Come the fall of 2023, we realized that we needed to switch web providers to something that was going to be a P21 solution for our website. Sorry, there's like a fly. But and then I found Aldrich, so I started just kind of doing like reaching out to Aldrich and some different Profit 21 providers and some Epicor providers, and just trying to start getting some research under our belt as to what would be a good solution for us.
Yeah, thank you for your own personal experience and just what you've learned along the way. So, understanding what the challenges are of having a integrated solution, I think sometimes people fail to realize just how important of a piece that is when it comes to your e-commerce functionality. And I guess it's not maybe as a blanket statement, general statement. There are some people that have a lot of success on like a Shopify kind of account,
Right.
something like that. But then there's also a lot of people that need that level of integration to provide for their customers and don't even necessarily, maybe not even understand exactly what a integrated website could do for your business. So I know that you talked a little bit about just kind of in our green room meeting before the podcast started. You've talked a little bit about the analytics that you have. Would you be able to speak to, just from your experience, what success have you seen when getting an integrated solution in place? How has that changed your business?
So whenever I first started, we would get about 1 to 2 web orders per month. And that was even with us turning our distributors away from the website, saying, please don't use it at this time because we're working through some technical problems. We would still get 1 to 2 web orders per month. Now we get 14 web orders on average per week. So we are getting obviously more web orders, which is great. And we have a reoccurring user rate of 30%, which is pretty good. So we're really happy with that, so that we're retaining our users, and they're making it a part of their ordering process now with us. So we haven't done a really big push to the website because we understand that all of our distributors are very diverse, and some of them require more customer care than an e-commerce site can really give them, or at least right now, kind of where we're at with that.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to cater it to the accounts that we think it's going to be better used for at the moment. And then, obviously just creating a better user experience as we go, because the website's only been live for 10 months and we've done close to around $850,000 in sales already in the last 10 months, and around like 740 web orders the last time I checked. So compared to 2023, we did around like $40,000 in web sales. That's a huge,
it's a huge jump.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
And so I just got back from one of our industry conferences, ERA, and a lot of the speakers are just talking about how you need to have a website, and we're moving into this digital era. And one of the presenters was like, how many of you are proud of your website? Raise your hand. And I was like, I'm really proud of my website.
That's awesome.
How far we've come with this.
Yeah.
Because whenever I started, it was a bit, it was definitely a major challenge, and just trying to figure out, like, learning from me. I have a background in distribution. I started off in food distribution.
Okay.
And so we used a different ERP system. So learning Profit 21, which was more robust than the one that I previously used, that's a challenge in and of itself, just kind of getting adept with that system, and then figuring out, okay, how does this need to integrate with our website? That's also just kind of a challenge there. There's a lot of challenges that come with having a successful e-commerce site. And I feel like you don't really even know what all is going to be thrown on your plate until you're actually doing it as well. So it's best to just go ahead and get started. I think the sooner the better.
I like that advice.
So that's awesome. So unscripted, right, conversation question. How many other people stood up in that conference and said, hey, I'm proud of my website? I mean, were you like one of
there wasn't that many. There wasn't that many. Looking back, I can't give you an exact number. It was a really big room. It was a big auditorium room. But I think probably, for me, like, I always know that there's so much more that we can do. And I am very proud of our website, but I know, like, looking at some pages, I'll be like, oh my God, I got to work on that,
Yeah.
So, like, there's a lot that I still want to do. And I'm working with our sales team to kind of, create like a better experience for our distributors. And what all does that look like? Because it's not like creating a Shopify site, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit more in depth. And then it also depends on the suppliers that you have. So the way that we have our website broken down right now is by supplier category, shop by supplier, instead of like by product categories. We're getting into the product category piece. But it's all just kind of categorized by supplier right now. We figured out that's the best way that we're gonna.
Yeah. Well, I like the piece that you pulled out there, because I think a lot of people have different ideas and perspectives on what a successful digital e-commerce transformation looks like. But I like the piece that you pulled out and said we made more money. Like that's the name. That's the name of the game, right?
Yeah, and we're retaining users more
Yeah.
too. So I think that's, the main thing. And I always tell my team, I'm welcome to any and all feedback. I want the good, I want the bad, because I want to take the bad and make it good, right? And
Yeah.
so, like, I know that I've worked with your customer care team a lot with, like, our account page and how can we make this better? Or this is what our distributors are used to seeing on other supplier platforms. How can we mimic that on our website to make it just kind of something that they're more familiar with, so we can retain more users and get more people on the site. So we're still, building, but you should always be evolving your e-commerce site. Like, it should never stay stagnant. And that's another thing that they said in the conference is, like, you always need to be refreshing your content, and you always have to be staying on top of, the trends and everything, because it's always changing, like, by the second. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So I think you hit it right there on the head. A lot of people don't realize, and it becomes a roadblock, that it's not just one and done, right? We don't just go through an implementation and you're done. There's so much more you can do. And I applaud you for reaching out internally, right, to your sales team to say, hey, how can we make it better for our customers? And then going and making those changes, because that's what's important, as far as also buy-in from your sales team.
Yeah.
Let them be a part, right, of that transformation.
Yeah. I need them to be a part of it, right? Like, I need them to be a part of it. They've worked here for way longer than I have. And so they have, what we call all the tribal knowledge of the distributor relationships, of the supplier relationships, and they have all the history. And so, if I can work hand in hand with them, that's how we're going to be able to create a better e-commerce and website experience for everyone, not only for our distributors, but for us. So,
and I think that's such an interesting point that you bring out, because both in previous conversations that we've had and this one, I feel like I've really understood the fact that even though we are talking about the topic of digital transformation, everybody still pulls out how it helps in a relational value with the people that you actually serve. And I think that so many people looking to go into a digital transformation are worried that they're going to lose relationship with their customers, that they're going to lose that touch point. And what we've seen time and time and time again is it actually enhances it. It actually builds another layer to that communication and builds another layer to that relationship, because you're making your customers' lives easier, and they appreciate that. So I thanks for bringing out the practical aspect of it's about relationships.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's all about relationships. And especially in distribution in the industry, like, this is a relationship based industry. And so, it's a big part of it. So you're never going to get away from that piece. And your website should only enhance that, because people are going to go to your website maybe before they pick up the phone, and they're going to see, oh, do they have this product? What, do they have it in stock, or what's the price? Right. And then they're going to call and, ask their customer care representative and get more details on it. Right. So it's just, to be able to provide more visibility, and also to showcase, like, all of your product offerings and all of your services. Right. Because we'll have some distributors that go on the website that only maybe buy from one supplier, and then they're looking through our different categories and they're like, oh, they have this other one. Well, now I know that I have an opportunity for this, and I can potentially, buy from that. So we're noticing also more of an increase in product mix in our carts, which is really exciting
That's awesome.
too. So they're not just sourcing from the one supplier that they're used to going, they're starting to add some more different lines. So that's another one.
That's awesome. Yeah. It sounds like your e-commerce shift has done a lot for you guys and done a lot for Genie Group for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely been a positive change for us. Of course, there's always things that we need to be working on, but both you and Bill know that we had a very short implementation period of just 2 months. So we were on a tight timeline because we didn't want to have our website be down, but it came to the end of the contract with our previous provider and we had to get everything transitioned over. And so that was kind of one of the reasons why we didn't want to do a full big launch right at the beginning, was because we were still working through some things. And I think it's just, for us, it's better to just kind of have this steady growth and to just kind of bring on the accounts that we know are going to be good for this moment in time.
And one thing I would say you guys did really, really well in your implementation is you stayed consistent. Every single day you found what the goal was, you came in, you tackled the goal. Was it always in the route that you thought? Was it always, A straight to B? No, sometimes there were, things that we had to accomplish in between there. But you stayed on top of it and you worked with our implementation team, you worked with our team, and you asked a lot of good questions, and that was really the important thing to that implementation getting done in the time frame we needed it to, was staying consistent and asking the right questions. It was a joy working with you guys for sure.
Well, we loved working with you guys too, and we still do work with you all. And
yeah, for sure.
I know that I'm always putting in a lot of tickets, and I'm like, oh man, here we go, another ticket.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, but you and Michelle were awesome to work with. I mean, Bill, from the get-go, I know that, whenever I was interviewing different companies, we had a ton of questions. And when it came down between the final two choices, Aldrich and the other company, the other company was saying we can do these custom integrations, custom. And that was a red flag for us, because we needed to know that, whenever our ERP is getting updated, we also don't need to, that's not going to affect the integration. But so with Aldrich, that was really the biggest push, was that you guys had that prior experience and were a true Profit 21 solution. And you were able to give me customer references that, spoke highly of you as well. So I think that speaks volumes when you're able to get those good testimonials and everything. Because that was definitely, it made me feel like the choice that we were going with, because we, had to make a choice relatively quickly. It was good that I felt like I had a good, sound decision.
Well, we appreciate the feedback, the positive feedback, and we really enjoy our partnership with you, right, and helping you grow to go forward. You've said some great things today that I think can share with the community. But if you narrow down, like anybody else in distribution that's listening to this, what is that one thing that they should take away from this, right? That to help them be more successful and not to go through some of the roadblocks you went through, right, in your previous experience and then moving into Aldridge. What is that one thing that you say, hey, this is a tip you should take away from this today?
Really get to know your ERP system and find those solutions that are going to be a good integration with that. That's my biggest takeaway and tip. And also making sure, if you have a shorter implementation period, making sure that you have all of that supplier content just ready to go and upload. Because that was the other thing that we worked on during our implementation, was we were able to get that from the old site, and I had some of my own that I had just acquired. And that made it a lot better for us to kind of start over with the new site too, was having that ready to go on hand. So it can be, and one other challenge is it can be a challenge to get all the product images, and because different suppliers have Excel files or Dropbox and different ways that they host their content. So it can be a challenge to trying to get it all in one place. So I would just say making sure that you have all of that information kind of a little bit before you start the implementation process. It'll make your life a lot easier.
That's a great tip. Hey, so as we're kind of wrapping up, is there a question we should have asked? Is there anything that we're missing that you're like, hey, they didn't ask me, or I really want to share with the community?
I just think that, it's important to have a good website for brand awareness, and just for the digital era that we're moving into. We didn't really touch on AI, but figuring out how you can incorporate AI into your website. I think that's a whole other discussion that we could have, but we don't necessarily need to have today. And I know Aldrich does have AI functionalities and everything. But I think in this day and age, as everything is moving so quickly, it's really important to get started. If you're hesitant to get started, just go ahead and just start working on it, because you will find those good partnerships that are able to help you. If you have a good, solid team internally, you can find good partnerships outside as well to help you too. So I think it's just good to have a solid team that you can trust.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I'll end where we started and just say a big thank you, Madison, for jumping on and talking with us today. It's been really great learning from your perspective and just learning what the shift to e-commerce has been like for Genie Group. And thanks for coming with the analytics, and thanks for being ready for the conversation. So we appreciate your time. And we hope that everybody, all the listeners, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to Tech Talks Evolving Distribution, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me. See y'all.
Thank you. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Tech Talks Evolving Distribution. Thanks for tuning in.
And we hope you've gained some valuable insights on how to embrace digital transformation and stay ahead in the distribution industry.
A special thanks to our sponsor, Aldrich Web Solutions, for supporting this podcast. With over 20 years of experience, they've been helping distributors win online and maximize their digital presence. Be sure to check them out if you're ready to take your business to the next level.
And if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And of course, share this with anyone who could benefit from this conversation.
We'll be back next time with more expert insights. And until then, keep evolving and embracing change.